Welcome to the YCN Game of the Week. This week, YCN travels to Claremont as the Cardinals host the Cougars of Kearsarge for an exciting Division III matchup. Game of the Week is brought to you by H.R. Clough, the home energy specialist, and Kearsarge Heating Oils. Kearsarge, free checking that pays, now available at Claremont Savings Bank. And La Valley Building Supplies for home improvement and construction from concept to completion.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to YCN's High School Football Game of the Week here on YCN, along with Andrew Zerhide. My name is Dave Collins as we welcome you into Barnes Park here in Claremont, New Hampshire. Fall is in the air, football is in the air tonight as the Stevens Cardinals play host to the Kearsarge Cougars. And Andrew, coming into today's game, Stevens with a huge win last week on the road at Newport. Newport, a beast for the past few years in Division III. Kearsarge also in Division III. Stevens gets the win at Newport. Kearsarge, they're 2-1 on the season, looking for an upset here in Claremont tonight. We'll talk about the Cougars in a moment, but for Stevens right now, the undefeated streak, they look to keep it going tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge win at Newport last week. The Cardinals coming away with the win 20-14. They were down in that game. They came back. They'll definitely bring some momentum to tonight's game. It's going to be a good one.
And for Kearsarge right now, as I mentioned, 3-1, 2-1 in the league, down at Franklin 21-0. They come back to win that game. The games will be decided, according to the coaches, in the second half, as they have so far this season. And we're going to see a special kind of offense from Kearsarge, sort of a modified Wildcat offense. Both of their starting quarterbacks in the beginning of the season got hurt. So now, direct snaps to running backs. That's what we're going to see when the Cougars come out on the offensive side of the ball tonight.
Yeah, I expect Kearsarge to be handing the ball off to Justin Norris a ton. Last week, I think he rushed for over 400 yards with 8 touchdowns. He's going to be a force for this team. If Stevens can shut him down, the Kearsarge offense is going to have a hard time scoring.
So we will take a break, be back to set things up and have the kickoff from Barnes Park here in Claremont, New Hampshire. Cougars and the Cardinals next here on YCN's Game of the Week. Welcome back, everyone, once again to Barnes Park here in Claremont, New Hampshire, along with Andrew Zerhide. My name is Dave Collins. Glad you could join us for YCN High School Football Game of the Week here on YCN TV. Alex Dodge and Dylan Hand on hand to help us out here tonight as we are in Claremont, New Hampshire, Barnes Park. The Stevens Cardinals playing host to the Kearsarge Cougars. Stevens undefeated, big win at Newport last week. Kearsarge, sort of a surprising record right now. So they only have one loss. They're 3-1 overall, 2-1 in the league. A New Hampshire Division III matchup tonight. Stevens won the toss. They will receive to start this ball game. Parker Smith back deep for Stevens. And to kick off, it's Noah Cooper for the Cougars from the 40-yard line. Stevens in their red uniforms, the Cougars in their white and blue uniforms. Short kickoff, and it's taken and bobbled momentarily by Smith. Battle for it, and now he gets out to about the 33-yard line, and that's where the Cardinals will start, going left to right across your TV screen tonight. 1st and 10 for Stevens at their own 33. So we are just underway. First drive, and they'll call it 1st and 10 from the 34 for Stevens. Now, Kearsarge, when they come out on offense, they'll run a Wildcat. Stevens' traditional offense, backs in the eye as they come out under center. Flanker wide to the near side to the right. 1st and 10 from the 34. Back to pass and lofting it down the field. Wide open is Smith. Catches it. He could go all the way. Right off the bat, Stevens scores a touchdown. 66 yards on the first play of the ball game, and Stevens is on top of Kearsarge 6-0. Just 6 seconds into the game, Andrew. How do you like that?
Wow, I mean, that's a statement right there by the Cardinals. First play from scrimmage, touchdown catch by Parker Smith. Great toss, great catch. Wow, 6 points very early in this one.
So right away, Stevens strikes first. Now, we mentioned in the pregame show, Andrew, that Kearsarge said this game, the coaches said this game is going to be won by either team in the second half. Well, not the way the Cougars wanted to start on defense. And now Stevens will try to go for 2. Run it to the right-hand side and in for the 2-point conversion. And right away, with 11:44 to go in the first quarter, it's the Cardinals with an 8-0 lead over the Cougars. And we'll keep it right here, Andrew. Right away, the Cougars come out. First play, they are stunned on defense. We'll see what they have to offer on offense right now. But, hey, way to go for Stevens.
Yeah, that's a great start for the Cardinals. Kearsarge defense, I mean, that was a double coverage too. There were two Cougars on Parker Smith there, but he still managed to haul it in, run it for the touchdown, and that was Richard Bell who ran it in for the 2-point conversion to make it 8-0 Stevens.
So the Cardinals will kick off from their own 40-yard line. Cougars getting lectured on the sideline just a bit. 11:44 to go in the first quarter. It's already an 8-point advantage for Stevens. And that drive, you can say, took 9 seconds for the 64-yard touchdown pass. This one booted a short pooch kick fielded by one of the up men who will just take a knee right there. And the Cougars will have it. Smart play by Bryce Brown, the senior, who takes a knee. And the Cougars will start 1st and 10 on their opening drive from the 30, it looks like 36-yard line. We'll mark it out to the 38. So 1st and 10 for the Cougars from their own 38. 11:42 remaining in the first quarter. Cardinals up 8-0. So as we mentioned, we'll see a Wildcat offense because the two quarterbacks that were scheduled to play for Kearsarge are out with injuries right now. So the handoff goes, or the direct snap I should say, goes to Norris. Justin Norris out of the backfield, takes it to the right side, maybe picks up 2 or 3 yards just over the 40. And it'll bring up 2nd and 7 for Kearsarge. So there's a lot of variables, Andrew, in this offense for Kearsarge and what they can run. But here's the problem. You don't really have that true quarterback either under center in the shotgun that can maybe get the pass downfield. So it's going to be a big ground game that the Cougars can hopefully establish here early on.
Yeah, the Cardinals defense, if they can shut down Justin Norris, Kearsarge is going to have a hard time putting points on the board.
2nd and 7, movement in the line for Kearsarge. And a false start called on the Cougars. So they get 3 yards on the opening play. And the second play is whistled dead, a false start. So that'll back up the Kearsarge Cougars to their own 35-yard line, maybe 36. And now 2nd and 13 coming up. We talked to the coaches in the pregame show, Andrew, and they said, you know, all of these guys on the offensive line, they all played JV, never really had varsity experience. So with a record of 3-1 so far, they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely. They have. They're a young team.
Direct snap once again. This goes to Norris. He'll try the right-hand side. Gets around the corner at the 40, at the 30, at the 20, at the 10. Touchdown, Kearsarge. 64 yards for the Cougars. So Kearsarge answers right back after a touchdown pass for Stevens of 64 yards. Kearsarge keeps it on the ground, and Justin Norris takes it 64 yards up the right-hand side, and the Cougars are on the board. It's now 8-6 in favor of Stevens.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised, Dave. Justin Norris, we knew he was the star of this offense, and as we said pregame, 8 touchdowns last week, over 400 yards rushing, and that was about a 50, 60-yard rushing touchdown there. That's what Justin does.
Out of the Wildcat. And now the Cougars will try to go for 2. Out of the Wildcat once again. Direct snap this time going back to pass, firing it in the air, and it's just out of the reach. The snap was to Bryce Brown. He tried to find Kyle Hernan in the near side corner of the end zone. Pass falls incomplete. 2-point conversion, no good. So both teams will come back down the field. And guess what? We've only played 1 minute and 34 seconds, and already both teams have scored. Timeout on the field here in Claremont. 10:26 to go in the first quarter. It's Stevens 8 and Kearsarge 6. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Back here at Barnes Park in Claremont. Beautiful night for football. 55 degrees for a kickoff temperature. Got some clouds in the sky and just the threat of some light showers, but we should be able to get the game in before the precipitation starts to fall, and no wind to speak of here in Claremont tonight. 8-6 our score. Stevens went to the air for their 64-yard touchdown pass, and then the Cougars came right back. Justin Norris, 64-yard touchdown run. Cougars missed the 2-point conversion, though, and that's where we stand. 8-6 Stevens as the Cougars kick off from the 40. This one's squibbed down low, and it's taken by Stevens. Here's McAllister. Runs it up the middle of the field, breaks a tackle. Could be a face mask there. No flags dropped. And a good return as he gets it out to the 43-yard line, and that's where the Cardinals will start. 1st and 10 for Stevens at their own 43. 10:18 to go, first quarter. 8-6 Cardinals on top.
The YCN Game of the Week and Saturday YCN Live College Game Day is brought to you by H.R. Clough, the home energy specialist, and LaValle Building Supply. Thank them for making this coverage possible.
Certainly thank you for checking in here with YCN's Game of the Week. Got a good one next week as well. So 1st and 10 for Stevens at their own 44-yard line. Back to pass once again.
Ooh.
Bork tries to throw it in the air, gets hit as he throws, and it falls incomplete. Almost picked off by Emerson Tyler. He was a few steps away. Bork got crushed on that one. It brings up 2nd and 10 for the Cardinals.
And I believe that was senior David Benjamin there, putting the pressure on the Cardinals quarterback, breaking up the play. Nice job by the Cougar defense.
Henry Bork, a sophomore, 6 feet tall, 165 pounds, plays safety sometimes on defense. He gets under center. Richard Bell is the running back, 5'10 senior, 200 pounds for Stevens, moving left to right. In the shotgun once again, Bork will keep it himself as he goes around the right-hand side, picks up some yardage there into Kearsarge territory, dipping and diving and plowing his way all the way down to the Cougars' 28-yard line. Oh, boy. It was like he was pirouetting down the sideline, staying in bounds, avoiding the tacklers. Great pickup for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be tackled a couple of times, but he kept weaving in and out, juking the Cougar defenders. Nice run there by Bork.
3rd play of the drive coming up for Stevens. They scored on their 2nd. Cougars scored early on too. 8-6, Stevens on top. 9:50 to play in the 1st quarter here in Claremont. After that run by Bork, they'll bring up 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Ball at the Kearsarge 27-yard line on the right hash. Working the shotgun once again. Takes the snap, looking left, being flushed. Now dips it off, and it's knocked away as O'Brien had it, but just dropped it, incomplete. And it'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Cardinals. Looked like they were trying to set up the screen on the far side.
Yeah, the Cougar defender was there, and there was some pressure on the quarterback as well. Couldn't get a great throw off. Goes for an incomplete pass.
2nd and 10 for the Cardinals at the Kearsarge 27-yard line. Ball on the right hash. 9:36 to play. 1st quarter here in Claremont. 8-6, Cardinals on top. Taking their sweet old time in the huddle. Bork comes out. Setting up just behind him is Richard Bell. In the shotgun, snap comes back, throws to the right-hand side. McAllister all alone, picks it up and gets all the way down inside the 15-yard line, down to about the 10 before he's wrapped up and tackled out of bounds. It's another 1st down, though, for Stevens as the Cardinals are on the march.
Nice job by McAllister there, making the catch, picking up some yards after the catch as well. Cardinals offense looking pretty good.
And it looks like the Cougars are going to reset their defense right now and call timeout. So that leaves them with 2 for the 1st half. Stevens with all 3. We'll take a timeout as well here on YCN. 9:29 to go in the 1st quarter here in Claremont. It's Stevens 8, Kearsarge 6. Back after this, you're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Back here at Barnes Park in Claremont, New Hampshire. 8-6 our score. Stevens on top of Kearsarge. 9:29 to go here in the 1st quarter. Taking a look at some of the Cardinal cheerleaders on the sidelines. As Stevens is on the march, 4th play of the drive coming up. Started at their own 43. They have the ball 1st and 10 from the Kearsarge 12. Ball on the right hash. And number 12, Henry Bork in the shotgun. The quarterback, handoff this time and turning the corner. Here's Bell. Can he make it to the goal line? Gets hit once, twice, still plowing, and gets down to about the 4-yard line before he's brought down by a sea of blue and white jerseys for Kearsarge. Had to work for that gain.
Yeah, he did, but he is a brute. He keeps chugging along, keeps running with those feet, putting his head down, picking up extra yards after contact. Good job there by Bell.
So it'll be 2nd down now, 4 to go on the Kearsarge 5-yard line. So Stevens can still pick up a 1st down without having to put it in the end zone. Clock ticking, 8:49 to go, 1st quarter. Stevens 8, Kearsarge 6. Again, Bork in the shotgun. He's got Bell to his right, takes the snap, handoff to Bell. Bell at the 5, into the end zone, touchdown Cardinals. 8:37 remaining in the 1st quarter. And now the Cardinals have jumped out to a 14-6 lead over Kearsarge. 5 plays on that drive. They march it down the field 57 yards and take almost 2 minutes off the clock. And now once again, Stevens will go for 2. Oh, nope. Yep, Burke will actually kneel down, or Bork will kneel down this time, and Kearsarge will attempt the extra point. Or Stevens will, I'm sorry. Snap placed down, kick is up, and that one is short and no good. As the kicker, Cole Foss, could not connect. And both teams will come back out onto the field. Timeout on the field here in Claremont. 8:37 remaining, first quarter. It's Stevens 14, Kearsarge 6. Take a timeout. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Along with Andrew Zerhide, I'm Dave Collins, Alex Dodge, and Dylan Hand helping us out tonight here at Barnes Park in Claremont. Stevens 14, Kearsarge 6, 8:37 remaining on the first quarter clock. Derek Stanhope to kick off for Stevens at his own 40. Give it to the up man, and Tyler flips it back, and there's room to run.
Ooh.
Up to about the 45-yard line, to the 50. Here's Nars. Could he take it all the way? He's at the 20, the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Cougars! And Kearsarge comes right back for the touchdown. It was taken initially by one of the up men, Emerson Tyler. He pitched it back, a legal backward lateral to Norris, and Norris has his second touchdown of the game, and the Cougars have answered once again. That didn't take long.
No, it did not, and that's exactly what Norris will do. We've seen him return punts, kickoffs. I mean, he can really do it all when he gets his legs going. And that was a great lateral there by Emerson Tyler. Back to Norris. And the Cougars quickly respond.
Stevens having problems. They might have too many men on the field. Let's see. You can see for the Cardinals, Philip Mason, a freshman, 6'4", trying to get out on the field. Would have been too many men on the field, so a timeout called by Stevens. So that leaves both teams with 2 here in the first half. And we'll keep it right here. 8:22 remaining, first quarter, 14-12. Stevens on top.
Hey, local sports fans, the new YCN Sports Talk, co-hosted by our very own Jeremy Stout and Dave Collins, is every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And 94.5 ESPN Radio's Franklin and House Sports Talk Show is on YCN every weekday evening at 6 p.m. YCN, your local view.
And we welcome your memorabilia donated to the studio. I know it's getting a little crowded in there, but we'll take your Celtics memorabilia, your Red Sox, anything you got sports-related wise, even something from Stevens or Kearsarge. You can also email us, sportstalk@ycnnow.com. Tell us where we can find your memorabilia. You might have somebody come and pick it up. So after the timeout called by Stevens, both teams left with 2 here in the first half. Cougars will go for 2, try to tie this score. And again in the Wildcat offense. Direct snap, goes to Norris. Can he turn the corner in time? Gets to the 5 and brought down right before the goal line. Good stand by the Cardinals right there. And that keeps the 2 points off the board. And Stevens maintains the lead. 8:22 remaining here in the first quarter in Claremont. Stevens 14, Kearsarge 12. 2-point conversion no good by the Cougars. We'll take a break, be back with the Cardinals kickoff right after these words. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Kickoff for the Cougars, 8:22 to go. First quarter, 14-12. Stevens on top. Cougars could not convert the 2 points. Here's a short kickoff, bounces at the 25. It is bobbled, and now finally taking a knee. Is he down? Yes. They will say that Parker Smith is down. He tried to get back up, but of course, once your knee touches the ground here in high school football, you are considered down. So that's where the Cardinals will start on the left hash. 1st and 10 from their own 21. They've got a 2-point lead with 8:20 remaining here in the first quarter. All right, so what do you expect this time, Andrew, from the Cardinals? Are we going to get another quick touchdown again?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if Bork and Parker Smith, they could connect again for a long touchdown, but they might mix it up, hand it off to Richard Bell, let him do some running. But, I mean, these defenses, they need to step up on both sides.
So Bork under center to take the snap. Backs in the eye behind him. Handoff this time straight up the middle. Look out, we could have another one. At the 50, at the 40, at the 30, at the 20, at the 10. He'll go all the way. Touchdown for the Cardinals. Richard Bell takes it to the house. 78 yards, and now it's the Cardinals' turn to score as they're up 20-12 with 8:07 to go here in the first quarter. That didn't take long.
No, it did not. Richard Bell finding the hole, sprinting up the sideline. Wow, I mean, like I was just saying, both defenses really need to step up, and they have not so far here tonight.
So 8:07 remaining here in the first quarter. 20-12, Stevens on top. They might not have room up on the scoreboard for this after all said and done. Let's see what the Cardinals do here. They tried a two-point conversion. They were successful on that. They missed the extra point last time. And here's Bork under center, so Stevens going for two. Man in motion, that's Smith. Bork pitches out. Turn in the corner, up into the end zone. Two-point conversion, good. That's Zachary O'Brien, the 6'1 senior for Stevens. We got a shootout on our hands here in Claremont tonight at Barnes Park. 8:07 remaining, first quarter. Stevens 22, Kearsarge 12. We'll take a timeout. Be back with a kickoff after this. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Back here at Barnes Park in Claremont, New Hampshire. Thanks for joining us on the YCN Game or Shootout of the Week, whatever you want to call it. Yes, that score is correct. 8:07 to go in the first quarter. 22-12. Stevens up by 10. Again, short kickoff. And this time Tyler gives it to Nars. Nars tries to break it to the outside, and he's finally brought down at his own 34-yard line. So Stevens, you see the strategy, Andrew. They're trying to do the pooch kick, the short kickoffs. But here's the problem. Nars eventually is going to get it somewhere. He's going to be behind the line. Right,
yeah. The Cougars, you can tell, they're looking to give the ball to Norris whenever they can. He's really their workhorse. The Cardinals there stopping Norris on the 35-yard line. And that's what the Cardinals need to do, contain Norris. If they can do that, they've got a great shot at winning this game.
Well, Norris has 2 touchdowns so far. One on the ground and the other one on special teams. And now a timeout called by Stevens. So the Cardinals will have one left here in the first half. And the Cougars have 2. We'll keep it right here. 22-12 our score. Cardinals on top by 10. 7:59 to go in the first quarter.
Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil turning up the heat player of the game when we'll pick the top performer in tonight's matchup.
All right, now that could be anybody. We are very early on here in the first quarter. Cardinals with 1 timeout left here in the first half. Kearsarge with 2. Kearsarge moving right to left across your TV screen tonight. So we welcome you into the YCN Game of the Week. First and 10 for Kearsarge at their own 35. Ball on the right hash. Again, Kearsarge, they do not have a conventional quarterback. They've been running the quasi-wildcat offense, so direct snaps, and Norris is lined up. He's number 32, ready to take it. See where he runs this time. Stevens may be looking to blitz. Takes the snap, handoff this time. Goes to one of the bigger backs for the Cougars, that is Scott Matthews. He is a senior, 5'11", 180 pounds. Takes it off to the left-hand side. Maybe gets a yard just across the 35. Second down and 9 for the Cougars.
Yeah, Kearsarge trying to be a little tricky there, trying to fake the ball to Norris. The Cardinals read that all the way, got the tackle on Matthews. Cougars maybe gained a yard there.
Second down and 9. Norris in the Wildcat. Takes the snap, keeps it himself, tries to go to the right-hand side, gets upended behind the line of scrimmage. And a big tackle right there for Stevens. Good job on the penetration by Cole Voss. Norris maybe picks up a yard, gets back to the original line of scrimmage. So a big 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Cougars, their own 35-yard line. We've had 34 points scored, and we're not even halfway through the first quarter here in Claremont tonight. And this might be the longest sustained drive as far as time-wise goes, so about 1:30 into it. So a big 3rd and 10 for the Cougars from their own 35-yard line. Norris and the Wildcat in the shotgun. Stevens with flags on the play now. They were loading the box just a bit and could have an illegal substitution. It'll be called against the Cougars, so that'll back them up 5 yards. So instead of 3rd and 10 for Kearsarge, now a 3rd and 15. And you almost wonder if Norris maybe backs up a little bit further in the shotgun to get some more room and get a running start, because I don't think the Cougars are ready to throw the ball yet.
Right, yeah, if he could get a little bit of momentum, if he's a little farther back. But yeah, I mean, we know what the Kearsarge game plan is. They're going to be running it. And Norris is going to get most of the handoffs. So the Cardinals have to be ready for that, and they have to be ready for also Matthews.
Norris in the Wildcat once again. Has a back to his right. Keeps it himself. Now they give it to an end around, and Benjamin gets maybe a yard. He tries to go to the left-hand side. David Benjamin, a senior, picks up maybe a yard, and that'll bring up 4th down and long for Kearsarge. They spot the ball right at the Cougars' 35-yard line. 4th down coming up. See if the Cougars are going to punt.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. They're pretty far back. They're on the 30-yard line currently. Got to punt this ball. 15 yards to go. Can't let Stevens take over so close to their own end zone.
So back to punt. That is Justin Norris. And now another whistle and a timeout taken by Kearsarge. So that will leave the Cougars with just one. So both teams now with just one timeout for the remainder of the half. And we will take a timeout as well. Big 4th down coming up for Kearsarge. Looks like they're going to kick it away. 4th and 15 from their own 30. 5:44 to go, first quarter. 22-12. Stevens on top by 10. We're back to Claremont after this. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. So Noah Tucker will be back to punt this time for Kearsarge. 4th and 15 from their own 30. Parker Smith for Stevens. Back to receive. Short kick, wobbly kick, and it will roll out of bounds at the Stevens 47-yard line. So that's where the Cardinals will start. 1st and 10 from their own 47. 5:37 to play here in the first quarter. And a 10-point advantage for Stevens. They lead the Cougars 22-12.
Our replays are brought to you by Kasasa, a catchy word for earning cash. Ask for free Kasasa checking at Claremont Savings Bank. Qualifications and rules apply. See them for details. Member FDIC.
And we thank you for tuning in to YCN's Game of the Week. Premieres on Monday nights here on YCN TV. So Stevens 1st and 10 from their own 47. Ball on the right hash. They set up right in front of our broadcast position here at Barnes Park. Pass ahead of the line of scrimmage, and look out. Taking it as Parker Smith gets dragged down. Norris with a great open field tackle. Otherwise, Smith for Stevens on the far side would have been off to the races.
Yeah, great job there by Norris. He read that play all the way. And just like you said, Dave, Parker would have been gone easily with a touchdown. So great awareness there by Justin Norris.
Pickup of about 4 yards. So 2nd down and 6 for Stevens. Ball just over the 50-yard line in Kearsarge territory at the 49. Henry Bork in the shotgun once again. Takes the snap. Fakes with it. He'll keep it himself to the 45, to the 40. Gets a block downfield. He's at the 25, at the 20, at the 15. Flag on the play as Bork falls forward across the 10-yard line down to the Kearsarge 9. But let's check the penalty marker, which is back at the 25-yard line. And this could be a hold against the Cardinals, and it might come all back.
I just noticed Justin Norris was a little slow to get up there. He's walking gingerly. Hopefully he'll be okay.
That's the last thing that the Cougars need right now. Remember, coming into this game, they lost both their starting quarterback and their backup quarterback. That's why they've had to go to the Wildcat offense. Illegal block in the back against the Cardinals. So instead of 1st down and goal at the Kearsarge 9, this will come back. They'll mark off the yardage from the spot of the penalty, so it's still a 1st down. As the quarterback, Henry Bork, picked up enough for it. So 1st and 10 for Stevens at the Kearsarge 36. So not the worst case scenario where in the NFL that comes back holding penalties 10 yards plus. So a 1st down for Stevens. They lead Kearsarge 22-12 with 4:30 remaining in the first quarter. Bork under center has backs in the eye behind him. Back to pass. Doesn't have anybody now, just dumps it off and fighting his way to the 35. Still fighting. Can he get loose? No. Picking that one up is Zachary O'Brien, the 6'1 senior. And he went about 10 yards across the field, still dragging tacklers with him.
Yeah, O'Brien is a big guy. You really got to wrap him up to bring him down, and he is determined to get those extra yards.
And he only picked up maybe a couple of inches. Paul Silva, the head coach for Stevens. Zach Matthews, the head coach for the Kearsarge Cougars. 2nd down and 10 for the Cardinals. Ball at the Kearsarge 36-yard line. Clock ticking, 3:40 to go in the first quarter. 22-12, Stevens on top. We've had a kickoff return for a touchdown, a pass for a touchdown, a rush for a touchdown, and now more whistles. And let's see what this is about. And a delay of game against the Cardinals. So instead of 2nd and 10, they'll back up 5 yards. Brings up 2nd and 15 for Kearsarge, or for Stevens rather, at the Kearsarge 41-yard line.
YCN Saturday College Game Day Live features 3 exciting Division I football games every week on YCN. On October 1st at noon, it's Southern Mississippi at Texas, followed at 3:30 by Ball State at Central Michigan, and at 7 p.m. it's Marshall at North Texas.
So 2nd and 15, Bork in the shotgun. Back to pass, looking right. Can he find somebody? Turns it up the field, fires down the field, and it is incomplete as it falls short. And a receiver downfield for Stevens, that's Parker Smith. One-hopped him, and he was also double covered. So 3rd and 15 now for the Cardinals as the pass ball's incomplete. .326 to go in the first quarter here in Claremont. Barnes Park, the scene for tonight's YCN Game of the Week. 22-12, Cardinals lead by 10. As they were doing a good job of driving down the field, got backed up by a penalty, now 3rd and 15. Bork in the shotgun, trips to the far near side of the field. That's the wide side. Bork back to pass, looking, Ball is stripped, flag down. Who's got the football though? It is still loose at the 45-yard line. They'll say Stevens recovered it. And if everything holds true, it'll bring up 4th down, but let's check the penalty marker. Slow to get up underneath the pile. See who that is. Looks like Chris LaFont for Stevens. And a check of the penalty. Kearsarge looks like the one to decline it no matter what it is. Holding against Stevens, that penalty is declined. So that'll bring up 4th down for Stevens at the Kearsarge 45. See if they bring the punting unit on. Norris wearing number 32 for Kearsarge. He's back to return it for the Cougars, standing right around his own 11-yard line. Stevens to punt from the Kearsarge scrimmage is 45. This one off the side of the foot, still booted, angling towards the sideline. A good job right there by Stevens. That is Derek Stanhope. And the ball is downed at the Kearsarge 12-yard line. 2:58 to go, first quarter, 22-12. Stevens on top by 10. It's 1st and 10 for the Cougars from their own 12. When we come back, you are watching the YCN Game of the Week. 2:58 to go, first quarter. Stevens 22, Kearsarge 12. Cougars 1st and 10 from their own 17-yard line. Handoff to the right-hand side and being brought down in a heap. A good tackle right there. Just trying to go around the bend. Looked like it was Scott Matthews. And he maybe loses a yard.
Yeah, the Cardinals defense all over that run. And the defenses really need to step up in this game on both sides of the ball.
Well, Andrew, you mentioned to us off the air, there hasn't been a touchdown scored in a few minutes.
Right.
We've been back and forth. And off to Norris, direct snap, or the direct snap goes to Norris, and he picks up maybe 3 yards. Out to about the 20. 3rd down, and we'll call it 7 for Kearsarge coming up as the Cougars move right to left here in the first quarter. 2:10 remaining here in the first, 22-12. Stevens on top. We had a 64-yard touchdown pass for the Cardinals to strike first. Norris came back, second play of the drive for the Cougars. They scored a touchdown. Kickoff return for a touchdown. It's been back and forth. Direct snap once again to Norris. He'll try the wide side of the field. Can he turn the corner? Yes! Gets brought out of bounds and plowed into as he takes out the Stevens water bottle guy. Picks up the 1st down, though, as he's out to the 35-yard line. So the Cougars with a 1st down, and they are on the move here late in the first. And Norris is going to be the workhorse. Mentioned that coming in.
Right, yeah, he is seeing most of the action on the Kearsarge offensive side of the ball. He's coming off the field for a play here. Give him a breather. See what they can do on 1st and 10.
So now let's see who lines up in the direct snap position in the Wildcat. That's Scott Matthews, the 5'11 senior.
Oh.
And it's a fake, and plowing ahead, maybe picking up a yard. I'm not sure if that was a bad snap or that was designed. They snapped it to the up end. It turns out that coming up with the ball is Scott Matthews out of the bottom of the pile. Pushes his way ahead, maybe picks up a yard and a half there.
Yeah, I thought the ball might have even come out there for a second, but looks like Matthews got it. Picked up a yard. Now it's 2nd and 9.
Down to 48 seconds to play in the first quarter. Stevens 22, Kearsarge 12. Cougars have the ball moving right to left. Back in there is Norris. Takes the direct snap. He's back to pass. Fires it downfield.
Ooh.
Wide open. Can he catch it? Pitts. No, incomplete. Oh, Pitts was right there and wide open for the moment. Ball a little bit underthrown. Pass falls incomplete. Otherwise, Kearsarge would have had 6 down the field.
Derek Stanhope was there knocking the ball away. And yeah, exactly, Dave. That would have been an easy touchdown for Kearsarge. But Stanhope was right there knocking the ball down. Good job by the Stevens defense.
So with 34 seconds to go in the first quarter, that was the first passing play for the Kearsarge offense. Pass incomplete. 3rd down and 9 for Kearsarge at their own 34. Tucker now takes the direct snap to Norris. Norris turns the corner. He's got room once again. He's at the 40. Here goes Norris again. Can he get his 3rd? Escapes the tackler. He's over the goal line. Touchdown, Kearsarge. And once again, Justin Norris leaves the Cardinals defense in the dust. His 3rd touchdown of the game. Kearsarge right back into this football game with 19.7 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, not surprised at all. Justin Norris, it's what he does. He rolls to the outside, finds the hole, and blasts through. And with his speed and athleticism, he has just been running all over this Division III. And last week, as we said before, 400 yards, 8 touchdowns. Seeing similar results here tonight.
Norris caps off a 5-play, 83-yard drive for the Cougars. 22-18, Stevens on top. 19.7 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And it looks like the Cougars will try for 2. And a whistle on the field. The official pointing to something in the corner. Now we're ready to go. And now a whistle, and it looks like it will be a false start against Kearsarge. So you can see as they're lining up for the 2-point conversion, Kearsarge has Scott Matthews back there and also Noah Tucker. When Norris is back there, Andrew, it looks like he's going to get the ball no matter what. But when you have Tucker and also Matthews back there, it's where's the snap going to go? They're both running backs. They're both a threat.
Right, yeah, the Kearsarge creating some confusion there with the Stevens defenders. And yeah, exactly. When Norris is back there, you pretty much know he's always going to get it. But with those 2 guys, you know, when Norris isn't there, you really have no idea where the ball's going to go.
So Kearsarge backed up 5 yards for the false start. Now the ball's on the 7 as they go for 2. Here's the snap, back to pass. Norris fires into the end zone. 2-point conversion is good. Catching it there is Emerson Tyler. And that draws the Cougars to within 2 points. 19.7 seconds remaining in the first quarter. It's now Stevens 22, Kearsarge 20. Cougars will kick off to the Cardinals when we come back. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. 19.7 seconds remaining first quarter here in Claremont at Barnes Park. Stevens 22, Kearsarge 20. After the Cougars ran just about 2 minutes and 50 seconds off the clock, 5 plays, 83 yards. And there's that masked man again. Number 32, Justin Norris. Pulling away for another touchdown run, his 3rd of the evening. Here are the Cougars to kick off. Squib kick, taken by one of the other. Nope, it bounces back. And all the way back there is Zachary O'Brien. Gets around one tackler and pushes his way up to the 38-yard line. So 1st and 10 for Stevens at their own 38-yard line. 13 seconds remaining first quarter. Stevens up 22-20.
Our next Monday night high school game of the week will be the Hollis Brookline Cavaliers taking on the Hillsboro Hopkinton Redhawks. In 2 weeks, it's Newport traveling to take on Mascoma.
Stevens beat those Newport Tigers last week on the road to stay undefeated. Big win for the Cardinals. 42 points have been scored so far. In just under 12 minutes. Could be the final play of the quarter here as Bork is under center for Stevens. Handoff straight up the middle, plowing his way forward. And getting out to the 45-yard line for Stevens, that's Zachary O'Brien. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter here in Claremont. It's been an exciting one. Don't go anywhere. See what the over-under is on this game when we come back. End of the first quarter here in Claremont. It's Stevens 22, Kearsarge 20. Back with second quarter action from Claremont, New Hampshire. Right after these words, you're watching the YCN Game of the Week.